why is it that you want to be a photographer in the first place? And then the second, very most important question to ask is, why is it so important to answer that question? Good morning, everyone. So in today's episode, I want to kind of take a step back and get a little maybe philosophical. Some people may or may not know that I'm actually a certified life coach. And I thought about how I could utilize those skills with this channel, because my ultimate goal for this channel is not only to share my journey building a photography business and becoming a full-time photographer and reaching my dream and goals, but it's also to teach. Because I know a lot of people that want to learn photography or that are beginner photographers that want to advance their skills and kind of know what I already know. And even though I'm not the all expert when it comes to photography, I know I have been in photography for a long time and I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience that I can share. And I realized that I do love teaching, so that's part of what this channel is all about, is to help new and upcoming photographers to learn and to make their skills better. And then as I learn, share that. But there's also another part of when you're becoming anything, whether that be a photographer, a musician, anything creative, or anything in general, when you're starting a business, if you're an entrepreneur, things like that. And it's our mind, our brain. We get in our own ways sometimes. We let our fears and our beliefs kind of take over. So part of this channel is to utilize what I have learned in personal development to help not only myself, but to also help you understand what it is that you're facing, what it is that you're feeling, and how you can push through to reach your goals. So with that in mind, today I want to talk about two very important questions that you need to be asking yourself, especially if you're in a place that you don't necessarily want to be, whether that be in your photography career or any career at that. But if you're a creative in particular and a photographer, why you haven't reached the level that maybe you thought you would have by now. So trust me, I have done this questioning myself as well. So the first question I want to ask you is, why is it that you want to be a photographer in the first place? Or whatever it is that you want to be, whatever it is creatively, if it's a painter, if it's a musician, photographer, cinematographer, whatever. Why is it that you want to be that in the first place? And then the second, very most important question to ask is, why is it so important to answer that question? Why is it important to know why you want to be a photographer? So those are the two things we're going to cover in this video. So the first thing is, why do you want to be a photographer in the first place? Why do you want to be a creative? Why do you want to be whatever it is that you're attaining to be? Why is it that you want to be that in the first place? For me, it's a creative outlet. And I have this innate need internally to do something creative, to release that energy out. And otherwise, if I don't, I get kind of like almost anxious and jittery, like I need to do something creative. So, and I've tried a variety of things to get this. I've done jewelry making, I have done candle making, I've done baking, which by the way, I still do, but I still do baking. But ultimately, nothing has been as fulfilling as photography for me. And so every time I'm looking for a creative outlet, I always naturally come back to photography. So I have decided to stay with it this time and go forward with that. Another reason that photography is something for me, because it's kind of a way of giving of myself to others, whether they are paying for their photography or I'm gifting a piece of photography, like one of my pieces of art. It's when you give that to someone and they appreciate that piece of art that they have just received, whether it's a photograph, a portrait of themselves, or like I said, a piece of my artwork, and they truly appreciate that. It's a feeling inside that of fulfillment and happiness that I have just gave of myself. Here is something that I have created and I've given to you, or you've paid for, and you truly appreciate it. I have a client I just did a photo shoot of. You can see Carrie and Jeff's video here. I'll put it up here. But she told me in a testimonial just recently, I am obsessed with my photographs, she said. I love my photographs so much, and we had such a good time, we want to do it again. And that kind of stuff just makes me feel so amazing to have been able to do that for them. So that's another reason I love photography, because I get to give of myself, of a talent I have, to be able to give to someone else and make them feel wonderful, or give them a piece of art that they'll be able to hang in their living room or in their bedroom or something and be like, wow, that's beautiful, I love it. And it makes them feel good, which makes me feel good. And lastly, one of the other reasons, and this goes back into basically my personal development, is there are 6 human needs. If you're not familiar with the 6 human needs, Google Tony Robbins' 6 human needs. And he will tell you there are 6 human needs that we all need to get through life and survive. And it's funny, some of them contradict one another. But one of those human needs is the need for significance, the need to feel special, And I have a strong need of significance and feeling special. And when I do my photography and I do an amazing piece of artwork, or I do a beautiful portrait for someone, that need for significance, that need for feeling like I'm special or I've done something special is fulfilled. And the more photography I do, the more it's fulfilled. And the better my photography gets, the more that's fulfilled. And the more I teach, the more that's fulfilled. When I help someone else learn something in photography, like when I help someone understand how to get off auto mode, or how to get off aperture or shutter priority into manual, or understand what ISO even is in the first place. When I help someone understand and take a beautiful photograph, that also helps to fulfill that need for significance and feeling special, because I did something for someone. So for me, those are the big reasons why I do photography. The next question you have to ask, after you've asked yourself, why is it that you want to be a photographer or a creative? The next question you have to ask yourself is, why is it important to answer that question? The reason why it's so important to answer that question is because inevitably hard times will always come. No matter what you're doing, no matter how much you love it, there's always going to be somewhere down the road pitfalls, roadblocks, self-doubt, fears, and limiting beliefs, right? You're always going to question whether or not you're actually good enough at what you do. Is what you're doing truly making a difference? Are you actually going to be able to be noticed in this massive crowd of other photographers or other creatives that are out there, And one of the things we always do too is we always compare ourselves to others. And we always usually do it to those greater than ourselves. And we look at those photographs and go, man, how am I ever going to be better than this? How am I ever going to be good as this? How am I ever going to be able to compete with this? And when those self-doubts, those fears, those limiting beliefs pop their head up, when you run into challenges and roadblocks that you have to find a workaround, when that happens, knowing why you want to do what it is you want to do will help you push through those times. It's really important to remember that often most people will say, well, how am I going to do this? Or how am I even going to compete? How am I ever going to be able to create a YouTube channel? How am I ever going to be able to do photographs of that quality? If you know what it is that you want, and you have a strong enough why as to why you want to do it, how will happen on its own. You don't need to worry about how you're going to do it. Just know that if you know what it is that you want and you have a strong enough why to go back to every time it does get hard, you will succeed. You will make it there. So I ask myself, why am I not doing this full time? And when I originally did my photography business, I did it for 5 years and I was doing very well. I was getting referrals, but I burnt myself out, and then it took me 5 years to pick up a camera again, and then I got back into it again. And I got into boudoir, and my first sale of boudoir, I made like $4,000 off of one sale. So I know I'm capable of doing photography and being a professional photographer, but the question is, why am I not yet? And I think it's because when those roadblocks came up and the self-doubts came up, I did not have a strong enough what and why. And the problem that I ran into, and I think a lot of photographers run into, is what type of photography should I do? What do I really want to do? And often we get stuck in doing the types of photography that everybody says we ought to do or we should do. You should do weddings, you should do portraits, you should do families, you should do kids, babies, newborns, whatever, because that's where the money is. You can't make money selling art. And these are a lot of the beliefs and the fears that I've carried as a photographer. But the problem is, as much as I can do portrait photography, and it's fine, I enjoy it, it's okay, it's not what gets me. What really gets me is my artwork and product photography. That's what I love to do. So what I've decided to do is I will not say no if someone asks me if I do portrait photography, because I do. I will happily do it because I'm not going to say no when I'm not making a business. But my focus is going to be on my artwork and on my product photography. That's what I'm going to build my portfolios with. That's what I'm going to build my Instagram accounts with. That is what is going to be what I want to do. If people ask me, do I do portraits? Yes. Do you have any examples? Yes. I will always have that. But eventually, that's not what I want to ultimately do. My goal is to do product and art. So now I have a very strong what and have a very strong why. Why do I want to do product and art? Because that's what drives me. That's what gets me the juice that I want when I do photography. And there are plenty of product photographers and artists out there making money with their trade. So if they can do it, I can do it. Maybe I'm not to their standard yet, but if I keep working at it, honing my skill and staying focused onto my what and my why, I know that I can. And so that's why it's really important to know your what and your why. How will happen on its own. So with that being said, I truly hope that you find your direction. I hope you find your what. I hope you find your why. I hope you find your purpose, and I hope you find your goals. Because once you do, and you have a strong why and a strong what, how will happen on its own. I know it will. I know it will for me, and I know it will for you. So I hope this video has helped. Look forward to more videos like this, because photography isn't just skill set, it's mental set too. We need both to have a whole photographer, especially successful ones, right? So like this video, subscribe if you aren't already, and make sure you hit that bell so that you get notified every time I put a video up. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Look forward to more in the future, and until next time,